So we're doing the intro afterwards.
Yeah, we can't do it now because we don't know what we're talking about. What's it called?
Democracy Interrupted.
Democracy Interrupted.
That's what happened.
Starring me, Fuzzy Villain, and whoever this person is.
I'm Matt Shea.
No, I'm just kidding. He's an equal part. There's two parts. How's your Tuesday? Donald Trump became the 47th president of the United States of America.
Destroying the only interesting thing about Grover Cleveland. Obviously, everyone has a lot of feelings all the time, but especially now. Just kind of make sense of it, see where we went wrong.
I live with Republicans. I'm surrounded by Republicans. I associate with Republicans. So I can tolerate Republicans.
I talk to people. It's kind of important to not be in our online echo chambers, which I feel is, if you're usually on Reddit or something, you may be like, the vibes are on our side, and then reality just took a bat to your face.
It's relieving to a certain extent, you know? Like
I'm so, like, that's the only real positive emotion I can take out of this is relief that we don't have months of lawsuits, months of teeth gnashing, bitching, violence at the Capitol, or anywhere else, I suppose. It is over.
I think it was a legitimate election.
Okay.
But ring ring ring. Putin. Hey, Putin. I need some votes.
Could you maybe call in some bomb threats for me? Is that where you're going?
You already knew where I was going. Because early voting was at an all-time high for the Republican Party. Donald Trump has been warning people to call it for months. There are 4 states that supposedly Russia called bomb threats in. All 4 of which...
Here in Georgia, Pennsylvania...
Michigan, and Arizona.
Yeah.
All 4 swing states. I don't... It definitely didn't work. People came out and they voted, and Kamala still lost. But the idea might have been to push Democrats who hadn't put in early voting to be too scared to come in and vote.
Well, Russia's been running this psyop for a long time, like longer than 2016. They want to push sectarian conflicts. They want us to be a chaotic nation. They can't win against us conventionally, so they want us to be divided, because the only way you can crush the strongest empire is from within.
So wait, are you buying this?
I believe that Russia called in the bomb threats. That's not a conspiracy. That's what our Georgia Secretary of State and the FBI said.
But was Trump involved? Considering so much warnings for early voting, so much put a lot of pressure on his supporters to do early voting. Was there knowledge previously that this was going to be a situation?
I honestly don't think so.
I don't either, but
again, because Trump is not a subtle person, I think his kind of election interference would be post-election through the courts, through the House of Representatives, as he hinted at. And he's like, me and Mike Johnson have a secret. I'll tell you what the secret is. He's never going to tell us. But I don't think he has the foresight. I think perhaps even the sycophants that surround him now are like, don't call Russia. And we do know that Elon Musk was talking to Putin pretty regularly for a couple of years, so it stands to reason he could be an intermediary for any information between them.
You're supporting this theory.
I'm not supporting this theory. I'm saying, like, it has more credence than the CIA running a psyop on us, because Russia running a psyop on our country is just a fact.
Well, CIA's run many psyops on this country before.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
Factual. That was a long time ago. They don't do it anymore. TV. Nobody does psyops anymore. Why would the CIA do those things anymore when they worked previously? Why would they stop?
I mean, a lot of that stuff didn't work. It just gave us more problems. Like, every time we installed a government, they had a coup. Like, Iran is an adversarial state towards us because we installed a puppet leader over there. So, like, in South America is a mess because of us installing puppet leaders over there. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, the American government's great, they learned their lesson. But it doesn't seem like they're being so overt now. Or, alternatively, if the CIA is giving out free acid still, leave it in the comment box. I would be very interested.
We're open to discuss things. This is a crazy question. I don't think you're even going to like it.
Probably not.
what are you looking forward to in a Trump presidency? Are there any saving graces as a measure to unify the nation? I query you, my friend.
I am looking forward to hopefully the left coalescing and unifying. I would really hope that the DNC takes a message away from this because it's a crazy thought. When we pick the candidates, they tend to win.
So you're just looking forward to the left unifying. There's no Trump policies that I mean, the dude promised like 1,000 things. Some of them I think actually don't sound bad. That's part of why I probably don't consider myself
What
a
so
hardline Democrat. But there are some policies I'm like, well, if you can make that work, that will be beneficial to people like me and people around.
I don't know because really all of his campaigns have been more about vibes and cult of personality rather than ideology or policy. So in terms of the policy he did pitch, like tariffs, I think it's a terrible idea, and most economists would agree, I guess. People think it's going to save them money, which doesn't make any sense to me. In terms of him dismantling the federal government, sure, there's some
Is that one of his campaign promises?
to dismantle the government.
I don't remember that one.
I mean that's kind of his messaging, and that's the people he wants to bring in. It's he wants to fire the
So your
people that
answer is
stopped him
nothing.
first.
You're looking forward to nothing.
What are you looking forward to?
I'm just saying there's a couple of things that wouldn't be so bad.
I.e.,
No tax on tips.
if he doesn't.
No tax on. Oh, yeah, these are obviously we. My faith in him doing them is
it's a Republican
close
that put
to
the taxes
zero.
on the tips there in the first place.
It's close to zero.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not thinking. I'm just saying. If there were some campaign promises that he made, no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. Those two specifically. Because my very existence is in danger here. Like,
right.
well, I haven't got to the question. What are you least looking forward to? Because that's a whole segment in itself. But yeah, if I'm going to throw out a positive, I'm like, well, if he could get those things done, that would greatly alleviate like a lot of people's wallets that are poor like me.
Can he eliminate all taxes on tips? Because are we tipped at the state and federal level for them? I'm pretty sure we are, right?
Well, I mean, we're about to give him like king-like powers, so I don't. Okay, let's just ask the question.
Okay.
What are you least looking forward to?
I'm least looking forward to. Honestly, there's just so many things to choose from. I'm concerned if he will make it through his term because I do think in a lot of ways JD Vance is more dangerous than Trump. I'm least looking forward.
You mean the guy who called him Hitler?
Yeah,
his vice president. Okay.
The guy that owns his political career to Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Netflix and Ron Howard.
Yeah, way to go, Ron
Amy
Howard.
Adams.
Let's not
Glenn Close.
I don't think it's Amy Adams' fault. Well, she's still a great Lois Lane.
She's a good actress, sure, but
Yeah. Arrival is good.
What is it name? Rachel Brosnahan, and she's gonna be a better Lois Lane.
Probably.
I don't remember.
Well, I mean, having a good script and director will probably help. Listen, that doesn't matter. I'm least looking forward to, on a very personal, selfish level, if he does these tariffs, my Nintendo Switch 2 is going to cost more money, and that's really going to suck.
It's going to be so
It's really going to
expensive.
suck. It's going to be so expensive. It's from Japan. It's made in China. That's like, what, 2 sets of tariffs? Come
I
on.
doubt it will go into effect immediately. So your Switch will probably be
Let's see.
a decent price. But when they were releasing the Switch, they're saying like
They
March
haven't
next
announced
year.
it yet. That's a different
Okay.
sector of news entirely.
Okay, well, I mean, if that's one of your concerns,
I'm just, I listen, your existence and comfort at threat, way more important. I'm just saying, for me personally, the stakes are not very high.
long story short, I'm a white man.
Well,
I play Nintendo. I'm worried about.
I have a feeling that, families are going to be broken apart. The cost of eggs stays the same. So we'll see. The level of cognitive dissonance is high in his voter base. They live in this dark conspiratorial world. They
But
elect him
it's
because
not
they are.
all of them though
It's
either,
not all.
because it's honestly not even close to all of them. Or we're just super cooked as a nation because he did win the popular vote. Like this is, I think that's actually another thing that I'm looking forward to backtrack for a second, is that there might actually be a possibility within the next 4 years you could make the argument that we can eliminate the popular vote, considering that he won it this time. And it is the first time the Republicans won it in what,
But I mean,
20 years?
eliminate it. How it doesn't do anything now.
Well, I mean, eliminate the electoral college.
Okay.
Sorry. If we can get rid of the electoral college and actually make the popular vote count, everybody's vote counts for one vote.
I believe right now the Supreme Court would probably find that unconstitutional, but we will see. The other way is to have a constitutional convention, which nobody wants. That will be the Koch brother that's left wants it because they think a constitutional convention can really help their crazy right wing goals. But with the nation being as fractured as it is, it's not a good time to screw with that document in a meaningful way. So we'll see. I mean,
This is just my dreams being crushed.
sorry. Yeah, I mean, pragmatism cuts both ways. I can tell you the conspiracy theories, it ain't that bad, but I can tell you, maybe the things you're hoping for are a little bit out of grasp, at least for now. I support the National Popular Vote Compact. I think it's a good idea. I think that our voices should be heard, and I think people are more important than dirt, and the founding fathers aren't democratic like we are. They didn't want ordinary people to vote. A lot of ordinary people couldn't read when the nation was founded.
Landowners put together this government,
Yeah.
and it's really always been in their favor ever since.
I don't think any of the media ecosystems that drove us to this point are going to change for the better in the next 4 years. Like, don't get me wrong, it's important to have real journalists doing real work, but at the end of the day, the media caused this. They want Trump to be in there. It gives them money.
It does give them ratings, yeah. I thought the indictments were just, non-conspiracy. I still thought the indictments were a ridiculous call. I remember when they first brought him back into the fold, and I was just like, why do this? Why make America talk about him again when he's been playing golf for 2 years, and let's just let him do his thing.
He
Let him live in
wasn't just
peace.
playing golf. He was planning his comeback. There was no one else that could take the reins. Like, he always knew he was going to.
No, the Republican Party was like full steam ahead on Ron DeSantis, who I completely believe would have lost. Probably,
Okay,
but
people don't like Ron DeSantis. This is exactly like when they were talking about Biden dropping out. I'm like, well, I guess Kamala Harris would replace him, but people don't like her.
do you think it had anything to do, or do you think he gained any steam when Ron DeSantis held that fake debate with Gavin Newsom?
I don't think the general voting base was even aware of that, to be honest.
But the GOP was aware.
The GOP was aware, sure. I mean, the GOP just saw Ron DeSantis crash and burn in the primaries because you can't say that you support Trump and run against him. It doesn't make any sense. You either support him or you don't. That's why Nikki Haley was the one that was there until the end, because she's like, he's not good, but Biden's not good either, which is true. I mean, like, you can't support him and run against him. It doesn't make any sense.
No, Nikki Haley was wrong. Mark my words, we will have a female president if Donald Trump. We will have a vice president, Kamala, as president if Donald Trump runs. She was wrong. She was dead wrong. So even, I don't even want to touch on the sexism of it all. Honestly, I really think it has a lot to do with sexism.
I do too.
But yeah, as far as just things that I'm not looking forward to, I'm not looking forward to more division, which I do think is imminent. I think people I just remember the last time waking up every day going, what is he gonna do now? Are we on the precipice of war with North Korea? Like, that was a thought I had back when he was president, and not
Totally.
are we, who's he making?
Remember when he just
taking
killed
out
the Iranian general Soleimani just for no reason? It's
don't know
crazy.
what
He
better-
doesn't care. Like he doesn't care about long-term effects.
He's done so many things. I literally don't remember all of this stuff that he did today.
Right.
There was so many moments from that presidency that I've completely forgot about at this point in time. But like, I like that my TikTok page is slowly accruing those and is they're showing to me again.
Well, the fact that it was like a torrent of crap is the problem, because people, when they think back, they're like, oh, Trump's economy was good until COVID. That's who I'm going to vote for. I can't buy groceries right now, which I understand. Like, I'm empathetic towards, but man, he's not going to help you. He doesn't care about poor people. He's never cared about poor people. He was born rich.
It's true. I have to keep focusing on positives because I can't. There's so many negatives. I don't want to speak on all the negatives, but
It is. We have a better chance.
it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be hilarious. Some days when you're not crying, you'll be laughing, and it'll be funny. You'll be like, "What? Why did he do that? He can't. That man can't open any doors."
We have a better chance of taking back the Senate in 2026. Positive.
I don't know, honestly. Like that's what scares me the most is that he's gonna have so many powers this time around with the golden trifecta, Senate, House, and the executive branch, and the Supreme Court. He might even possibly put in 2 more freaking judges,
Yeah, no, that's probably going to happen.
which is
On
bananas.
the bright side, no more Clarence Thomas.
Woo. He just RV his way out of there.
He didn't take it. Yeah, I would have taken that deal.
Well, he already has an RV.
Yeah, but not as good as the one John Oliver wanted to give him.
It's true, I guess. But sure. The good news is that there will be enough people angry with him to do something.
I mean, this is how political action happens. And, you know, anyone listening to this, you know, history doesn't stop just because you're in it. Like, at every moment in history when we were on the precipice of change, you had to fight for it. Like, you know, people didn't, you can just ask people 2 generations or 3, like, older than you about the Civil Rights Act. Plenty of people that are alive that remember that stuff. They never thought it was going to happen. But we grew up in a world where it was old news.
I think I don't know. There's just so much to not look forward to. Let me ask you, what do you think the next election cycle is going to look like?
The next presidential one?
The next presidential election cycle. And, you know, this is good, just the, you know, we may not be doing this podcast forever. We don't know if we're going to do it past a few weeks or whatever, but this is still going to be a good point for you to make your call and see if you really got the political gumption to figure out what's going to happen.
I am almost
around.
sure that it's going to be Vance on the ticket winning the primaries. For whatever reason, Republicans like him. He has the dark money backing. In terms of the Democrats, they're going to need a real primary or they are going to lose.
Any political stars you see making it?
I mean, I'm always hoping for AOC, but I'm sure that they don't.
They're not going to run a woman in 4 years. There's no flipping way they run a woman in 4 years. They've been proven time and time again that America is just too sexist to run a woman.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think anyone from California is going to win the primaries. So no Newsom, no Schiff.
They're going to push the crap out of Newsom, though. They are going to push Newsom so hard. This is just a call.
You think so?
Yeah. He's a darling.
He's a good politician.
He's a good politician. He's an excellent speaker. He is a white man, which a lot of people generally seem to like.
I think as it stands right now, the one with the best shot is Governor Shapiro of Pennsylvania.
Who would you like to see? AOC?
Yes.
Like in a dream world, we're dreaming. It's 2028 and we're dreaming.
I
You want to see an AOC?
You know what I would
Who
like to
else?
see is someone that's not in the current system, that is activated by this presidency, that is only in politics for a couple of years and really excites people in the primaries, not unlike Obama did.
So yeah, but Obama was in for what, 8 years?
He was 2 years in the federal government.
2 years?
That was the case that he and Michelle made to many primary voters. They're like, hey, we haven't been in Washington that long. We're still real people.
I knew it
Fact
wasn't.
check.
I knew it wasn't long. So you, imaginary person who hasn't started running yet, who will win in midterms, is what you're saying. That's who you would want.
That's who I would want. And to be clear, like, whether she wins the nomination or not, whether she has a shot at the nomination or not, much like Bernie, I want her up on the stage to drive the conversation left. And I'm talking actually left. It's not identity politics. It's not a moral high ground. You know, people are, I think, tired of being preached to. You need to have real policies for real working class people. You know, Bernie Sanders just released a statement excoriating the DNC for losing touch with just that. Like, this is not the party of FDR. This is the party of, how could you vote for that man? Well, of course, how could we vote for that man? But we're going backwards. Like, these social issues, you know, abortion, gay rights, trans rights, these are not the things we should be debating. These are things that should easily be enshrined in our legislation. Like, why are we fighting about human rights? Aren't we done with that chapter? We really need to talk about the policies that affect everyday people to drive a voting bloc out that is a real coalition. Because if your coalition is no, not that guy, that's not going to help. And I understand it is much easier to drive fear or even apathy or anger than hope, but you need people to fight for something.
I would like to see third party candidates in local elections, in smaller form, like a member of Congress or a senator or something. I don't know why people keep going third party for president when you haven't even figured out how to get them on the smaller ticket. You just need people
Exactly.
like, I think it's important. I think we should do that. I think we should move. I think we're automatically going to move farther left. As far as what I would like to see in 4 years, I would like to see more. I would like to see an AOC, but that's a pipe dream. That's never going to happen. They'll never put a woman as the front runner on the ticket.
Yeah.
They
I don't
probably
think never,
aren't going to
probably not
put a
next
gay
time.
man on the front of the ticket either.
I don't think
but
I
think Buttigieg might be able to turn some heads. Buttigieg, he's such a well-spoken person. He's able to change minds. He's I mean, yeah, I don't know. He's great.
I mean, it's more than being articulate. He can really speak to people. But and going back to the third parties, you're right. Like, if the Green Party, if the DSA want to show up as real coalitions, they need to go for city council seats. I think there needs to be a push for ranked choice voting in general. I mean,
I'm glad people vote with their conscience. I'm glad people have a heart and a soul and they think they can,
I was plenty politically aware in 2016, but there's no way in good conscience that I could vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't think that was going to be good for the country. But I also was apathetic. I thought there was no way that she could lose.
Speaking of the Clintons, did you hear the Jeffrey Epstein tapes that came out recently? Jeffrey Epstein breaks it down. He's like, first off, Clinton and Trump, they're like the same. Either one of these guys could walk up to the fattest girl in the room and say, "You're the most beautiful person in the world," and they'd sell it, and that's one of the things that Epstein admired about both of them. It's their charm. They're able to charm the pants off of anyone, literally charming pants off. That being said, the story of Donald Trump wanting to fuck somebody else's wife is so good because it's essentially the plot of the phone call in Mean Girls. Donald Trump is on the phone with his friend. I think it's like Michael or something. I don't remember his name, but he's talking to somebody, and he's like, "I got the Tropicana girls coming. The Tropicana girls, they're flying in. Don't you want to hang out with the Tropicana girls? Me and you and the Tropicana girls. We're gonna run that up, And he's like, "No, I'm married now. I can't be hanging out with the Tropicana girls, but Donald Trump's like, but is she like, you love your wife then? And he's like, yeah, but is she the best you ever had? And he's like, I don't, I guess not. No, she's not technically the best person I've ever had.
Such scumbags.
I've ever had. And the entire time, Donald Trump had previously called this man's wife and had her
like,
on the
your husband doesn't
sneaky
care about you.
three-way call. Like, listen, I'm going to call your husband and I'm going to tell him, he doesn't love you. I could love you. I could show you love. Watch, I'm going to call him and I'm going to ask him if he wants to have sex with other women. And he's going to say, essentially, yes. I don't know how that story finished out, but I laughed. I laughed. I had a very good hearty chuckle about that. I was like,
I've spent a number of years in the auto industry. I definitely know that type of person, I would say. That sucks.
It does suck. I mean, he's a garbage person.
He's a con man.
He's a con man. He's a salesman.
Yeah,
salesman
precisely.
And he's a decent salesman. He's not good at business, but he's good at sales.
I think he's good at sales. He's good at reading a crowd. He's good at reading people.
Oh, of course. He told everyone exactly what they wanted to hear this time. This is the only way he could get elected. I don't even know if he believes half of the stuff. When you think about how he was a Democrat for so long,
yeah,
it really puts into perspective. Oh man, this guy does not give two flits.
Well, this is the whole thing. He doesn't have a code of ethics. He cares about himself. So anything he says he cares about is not true. I do not think he has a strong moral obligation towards abortion. I don't even really believe that he's racist. He just automatically thinks he is better than everyone. And he will use those tactics to his advantage, but he is a malignant narcissist. He will say and do whatever it takes to get him ahead. And that's nothing new.
I don't believe he's a racist either. I definitely think he's sexist, though.
Oh,
sexist, like very unhealthily sexist.
Well, I don't think he values other human beings correctly in general. Not his family, not anyone around him. I mean, you can see how easily he burns those close to him, like Roy Cohn or Michael Cohen. He doesn't care. He never has.
There's so many people burned. It's like, I mean, it's just funny that he's like the one president where every person who worked with him was like, never again, never again.
Well, perhaps those people should have come out. I mean, it's just a cult of personality is the whole thing. Like, people are under his spell. They do not like where things are, and they wanted some kind of change, and he was the only one available, I guess. I am trying to give a lot of people the benefit of the doubt here. I'm not trying to put every Trump voter in a box. But, in some ways, with this election, the problem isn't Trump. Everyone knows who the hell Trump is. The problem is the Democrats inspiring people to come out. And, like, they need to actually change their coalition. This isn't working.
I don't know if you saw it. There was a interview on The Daily Show last night with I don't remember her name, but she's a professor at UNC Chapel Hill. She writes for The Post.
Washington Post. I saw the A block of The Daily Show, not the interview.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I think she said it really eloquently. Like, this was identity politics. This was Donald Trump's able to tap into the identity of white in a way that, like, is unspoken but resonates. Like, he, in the same way that BLM is a movement, or, this was a movement for white people. And he knew how to speak to that base in a way that, Kamala couldn't speak that way to the Democrats. But he was able to find his base in white people. There's young male voters came out in full force. And it's almost, and it has a lot to do with Theo Von and Joe Rogan and
Andrew Tate,
Logan Paul, or
right,
whatever. It was so many. Aiden Ross.
Manosphere.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to me because, like, I remember being a young man. I certainly said a lot of I certainly said a lot of deplorable things on Xbox Live when I was a teenager, and I grew up, and
they'll grow up eventually. Yeah.
I don't think so, because like Donald Trump has emboldened people to kind of stick to their laurels the whole time. A lot of these people, you know, complaining about how video games aren't sexy enough anymore, they're like 40, 50 years old. Like, are all of these men going to grow up? I don't think all of them will. I think some of them will, maybe. I think being denied sex because of a political movement might get them to change their tune, or at least act more liberal. I heard a lot of Gen Z voters lied about who they were supporting, the ones that did vote, which is interesting to me. But I mean, those character traits are going to come out eventually.
On a lighter note,
Mm.
did you see Ivanka's face when he made his acceptance speech?
I did not feel
It was
masochistic enough to watch his speech. I don't need to do it.
Oh, it was great. It was his
I'm
speech
sure.
was so great. Everything okay. Like I said, it's gonna be an entertaining next 4 years. But his speech was so great because he went up there, and you could tell he was just like, you know what, Dana White, why don't you come say a few words? It was the only acceptance speech
What?
I've ever seen by a president where he invited 3 people onto the stage with him to just spitball and say some
He
things.
was like having a telethon or something.
No, but I mean, he was like, you know, the way Republicans saw it was, you know, he was thanking his team in a way that no president ever has before. I kind of saw it as, man, this guy really doesn't know what to say. And Ivanka's face, like when she went out there, was just like, here we go again.
It was
like,
late. He's an
here
old
we
man.
go
He's
again.
tired. I'm sure he didn't know what to say.
I'm sure, yeah, she was. It seemed like she was like worried about her dad and stuff. And don't forget, like, she got in a bunch of trouble. She had a successful business on her own before her father was elected president, and basically tanked that entire business just by
the tariffs
association.
in China didn't help her business, from my understanding.
It was you know, that being said, there's also a really good there's a clip going around of Ted Cruz accepting you're making his acceptance speech, and his daughter is there, and he's like, thank you, and let's just say, you know, God bless Donald Trump, and I hope he wins the election or something before. And when he says that, his daughter just, like, she was actually all smiles while her dad won. And as soon as he mentioned Donald Trump winning the election, she just went,
Yeah, the guy that trash talked her mom, I'm sure.
yeah, exactly. Like, that's kind of like the crux of
I
the whole Republican Party right now. It's like, we don't even like this guy, but if we tell people we don't like this guy, we will not be
it is
in politics.
the most infuriating thing to just like talk to conservatives for like 15, 20 minutes, and they keep saying that they don't like him, but then they keep defending him and defending their vote for him. I'm just like, you don't like him, or you do, you know, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Just own it if you're a piece of crap. Like, I don't understand.
But I think a lot of people who voted for him, just, they knew he's a piece of garbage. They just didn't care because they weren't voting for a Democrat, or they weren't voting for a woman subconsciously. I don't think any of them actually went, oh, she's a woman, yada yada yada. I think subconsciously, though, they were like, I can't stand her laugh.
It's so stupid.
It is. But then on the flip side of that, Putin loves your laugh, so that's weird. That was weird as hell when he said that.
Putin, much like Trump, probably just thinks that she's hot.
Putin,
It's so weird.
Yeah.
Remember
the Twitter sphere,
Yeah.
the X Spaces or whatever. I literally only tuned in for like that 15 minutes, and then Trump was like, "She's beautiful. She's a model."
She could be on the cover of a magazine. Yeah.
This model. And it was like, "Oh, it's Kamala. I thought it was my wife or something like that. Almost as beautiful as my own wife." Listen, America, we're in danger. Danger, America.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in the most playful mood. I don't imagine a lot of people are.
Well, thanks for watching.
Is this our outro?
I don't know what the outro should be.